Ahoy, and welcome. This is Admiral,
La
here with a quick look at some new info about the upcoming DLC, with general thoughts and about how it stacks up to my ideas and predictions. Let's check it out. We'll start right off with regional units. As suggested and predicted, Slingers are now a regional unit for all the new civilizations as well as the Incas, likely with some stat tweaks. And the Inca civilization itself is going to be reworked. Regional slingers are a fine idea, and one that makes it less necessary for any of the new civilizations to have hand cannoneers, although that is still a possibility. It seems that there will be an Eagle Warrior replacement as well, called the Champi Warrior, from the Quechua word for mace. I'm glad they didn't go with the Chasqui,
I could send them a message.
or something overly specific and fictionalized like AoE3's Chimu Runner. And while the Champi generally refers to the Inca weapon, it's vaguely generic enough that it can work as a club or maceman scout. Like the Eagle Warrior, they're noted as being fast, good at raiding and scouting, but they can also build outposts. Frankly, a fairly niche ability, but I expect that one or more of these civilizations will have some special outpost bonus or ability to make it even more useful. Last up, they have a regional universal drop site that also provides population headroom, although with the quite uninspired name of Settlement. If I can get past the profound irony of most of these civilizations being on the wrong side of settlement by others during the DLC's timeframe, I do find this building interesting in terms of gameplay. Since the Incas seem to be taking the lead in providing the regional flavor and nomenclature for these shared units, from the Slinger and Champi Warrior to the new architecture set, might I suggest a less generic and less ironic name for this as the Kulka, from Quechua, referring to a storehouse, or perhaps Yacta, or village. Universal drop sites are cool, of course, and something I've mentioned before, as a mild economic bonus allowing for more efficient gathering of multiple nearby resource types. Next up is the new architecture, shared by the three new civilizations as well as the Inca, which is passably tribal in Feudal Age with its wood and thatch, and I do particularly like the Feudal Age market. By Castle Age, it's thoroughly Inca, with most of the attributes we talked about in another video. The steep roofs, large stone blocks, rectangular window slits, and trapezoidal door jambs. I expected them to go with a more persistently tribal set given that they could have had a closer line of best fit for the three new civilizations, but I think that this is a good choice in that it allows the set to be more based off of real surviving architecture, even if that creates an odd mismatch of stone masonry architecture for the three new civs. There was never going to be a perfect way of doing this without creating at least two new architecture sets, but it does feel a bit weird to have the visuals and regionals of the three new civilizations largely based around the single existing civilization that is most different from them. So I continue to think that the biggest missed opportunity of this DLC is the lack of any other Andean adjacent civilization to balance out this mismatch somewhat. They could have added the Chimu, Aymaras, or Chachapoyas, especially if they hadn't wasted 3 ranked slots on the Three Kingdoms factions. For all of the research and design exploration they mentioned doing, they definitely left a lot of interesting South American content on the table. But hey, for now, that's what mods are for. And for any and all creative disagreements, I have to say that the new architecture set is long-awaited and does look pretty impressive. They even have the large stone blocks we mentioned for the stone walls. I will say the fortified wall looks a little too bleached white and a bit out of place, but that's a nitpick. And I think that the tribal evolution into the Inca style is ultimately a workable compromise. Moving on to unique units, the Mapuches have not one but 2 cavalry units. The Kona, meaning something like warrior, which adds insult to injury by being more damaging to already wounded units, and the Bolas Rider, which slows down enemy units as expected. Also as expected, the Muisca unique unit is the Guecha Warrior, a javelin thrower. Their special ability is that they heal nearby Guecha warriors when they die, which is a little wackier than I'd like. This is the first fully unique skirmisher unit, and there are many simple yet interesting things they could have done with it, so I don't know why they felt the need to go the Age of Mythology route with its gimmick. Every now and then it's okay to just design a normal, strong unit without relying on some kind of mechanical parlor trick. Muiscas also have another unit called the Temple Guard, which actually sounds more interesting to me and attacks faster the longer it's in combat. That's arguably a little gimmicky as well, but it feels a lot more grounded as a type of battle frenzy, so I like the sound of that unit. The Tupis have two unique units as well, the Blackwood Archer, which is inexpensive and trains in pairs, and the Ibaripema Warrior, a heavy infantryman that deals area damage. In my opinion, from a historical perspective at least, this is kind of backwards. The archers should be the expensive power units, and the infantry should be the light but spammable karambatized units. The Ibaripema or Takape was a decent weapon for the region, but not notably effective relative to other club or sword-like weapons, and not something that particularly impressed Europeans in a battlefield context. And as we've talked about, Tupi infantry were anything but heavy in their birthday suits or occasional feather capes. Tupi archers, on the other hand, were praised as powerful, accurate, and effective, not simply to be feared by strength of numbers. Not that historical accuracy or vague realism are the highest priorities, but I don't think they need to come in dead last as often as they do. On the other hand, it is a cool-looking historical weapon, and area damage kind of does make sense. I'm just hoping it has reasonable stats and doesn't hit like a tank the way that Yurumis and Jaguar warriors do, which, yes, are also quite silly in that way. From what we know about the civilization's unique units so far, I'm liking the Mapuches the most, the Tupis are in the middle, and I'm most leery about the Muiscas. But of course there's much that we don't know about these civilization designs and even the stats of these units. Some miscellaneous new graphics have been added, including an Inca-style loot pile with a golden llama, among other things, black panthers, guanacos, capybaras, and other animals that have been mentioned earlier. Of note, there is no archer line reskin, so in spite of the other immersive units coming, South American civilizations will still have that unit looking rather out of place. I also don't see any swordsmen, which leads me to wonder whether the new Champi warrior may actually be a simultaneous replacement of both the eagle and the swordsman line. If so, that could be pretty cool, or perhaps there is a swordsman line reskin for them instead. There also don't appear to be any new non-siege regional ships like we've discussed. No reed boats, war canoes, or Andean balsas. Honestly, a little disappointing. There will be a new siege ship for these civilizations, but I'm not going to get too excited if it's a fantasy catapult ship, when we could have had something a little more credible and historical. But we'll see. In screenshots, we see the full castles for the Muiscas, Tupi, and Mapuches, a likely South American reskin of the fortified tower, the Mapuche Wonder, the likely new settlement building, and what may be the Tupi Wonder, although I'm not sure. It would be cool if this was the first animated wonder with flowing waterfalls. There will be 3 new campaigns, of course, as well as a rework of Pachacuri, which I'm interested in seeing how far that goes. To wrap up, the architecture set is the biggest highlight here, and while it's not the best fit for everyone, I can see what they were going for, and I generally think it works. The new regional units are looking good as well. I have some reservations about the civilization designs and unique units, but really have to choose my battles, and on the whole they look tolerable so far. Overall, the DLC looks good, is high effort at least in some essential and obvious ways, and will be the first one in a while that I'll actually buy. It's available for pre-order now and comes out on February 17th. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think about these civilizations and their units so far. That's all for today, and thanks for watching. This has been me commenting on the coming chieftains, constructions, combatants, campaigns, and civilizations. Till next time.